So y'all bought a house with Edna here.
We did. We bought a house with Edna. We've been kind of thinking through the journey of that over the last year. We've been in our house a little over a year and thinking back about how that process happened and how it all went. The biggest thing that stands out to me, at least, was how overwhelmed we were at the very beginning of that process, like coming to that realization, like, okay, we want to buy a home. And so we're doing all the things that people do. We go on to all the websites and try to read all the things, which made me even more overwhelmed. I think us more overwhelmed. And it was at this place where we knew Edna from our local church and we're friends. So we decided to just say, hey, like, how do we ask you questions about this real estate thing, this massive thing that we don't understand in any way? And she actually invited us out to dinner. And when we got there, it was a great dinner. But she came prepared, as if it was like she knew what questions we were going to ask, because I'm sure they're the typical questions that folks ask. And had this folder, and it was all lined out, these typical questions. And not only did she allow us to voice our concerns and voice our questions, she was patient with us through that process. The biggest thing, at least for me, was that my wife would feel comfortable asking those kinds of questions. Like we didn't know where to go. How do we get a loan for a house? How much does all this cost? What do we do? How do we start? You don't just like show up and ring up the house and take it home. That's not how it works, like a store. So we needed someone to navigate that with us. And that was the thing that was so amazing to me, was how comfortable she made us feel in our lack of knowledge about this whole process, and being patient with us to walk us through it. I think we looked at several homes. Yeah. What we thought we wanted was different than what we really wanted. Yeah. We thought we wanted something, and we probably looked at 6, 7, 8 homes. I was very discouraged. I know you were getting very discouraged at the whole process, thinking this is not a possibility.
We felt like we were settling for all the houses we were looking at, and most of them were about the same size as the apartment we were trying to get out of, and it was really discouraging. And I think that Edna knew what we wanted before we did. Yeah. And she was showing us, and every time we would go and look at a place that we didn't like, she would sit us down and say, okay, what exactly is it that you don't like about this place, and what do you love about this place? And every time she would show us something, it would be closer and closer to what we wanted. And she just heard us and asked questions, and I think that's how she knew exactly what we wanted before we did.
It was personal. It felt like it became this personal thing that we were trying to find the exact fit. And I remember her calling us the night before, saying, hey, tomorrow morning, which was different for us.
Before work,
Before work, we're going to need you to get up and show up to this house right around the corner from where we were already at, and look at this house. This is the house for you. And I was very unsure when we walked up on this house. Didn't look like a whole lot at first, but as soon as we walked inside. Yep. As soon as we walked inside,
and everything we wanted.
Everything, every box was checked. The open floor plan, the amount of bedrooms, the square footage, and most of all, like the price.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like within what we could afford. It was a complete perfect situation for us. And I think that attentiveness, allowing us to talk, listening to what we had to say, and just being so willing to walk with us through it, that made a big difference for us.
Yeah, and I think we were so fixated on the price at first, which is why we thought we had to settle for something we didn't really want. And once she broke it all down for us with interest rates and how the places that we were looking at had homeowners association fees, that actually this place was cheaper or about the same price as everything else that we had been looking at. And I didn't really understand that until she broke it down for us, which is why we realized that this was a possibility for us.
Yeah. We spent a whole lot of years thinking we could never afford any of this or never be able to step into it, and being so really just going back to that word, overwhelmed. Yeah. Like, and then just sort of being like, we can't do any of this, but to have someone be able to step in for us and really like like help us understand in this kind way, in this caring way. We were able to find exactly what we were looking for.
Yeah. And
So how are you using the house now?
It's incredible. So what we wanted was that open floor plan to be able to entertain, and in my line of work, I'm able to do a lot of personal meetings with teams at our home. The big Florida porch that was converted into a room has a 9-foot farm table in it now, and we can fit 11 people around this table. We added a fire pit out back with benches around it, and all these things. We're really able to display some biblical hospitality in our home now, because it met that need. This huge open living room and dining room makes it so convenient to have folks over. And what does every single person say, Shana, when they come inside?
They're like, oh my gosh, it's so much bigger than I thought on the inside.
Yeah, it is huge when you walk in, and it's this wow factor of like, wow, this is home. This is a community happening here. We get to have a whole bunch of leadership meetings at our home, and some I get to do a little bit of pastoral care out of my home. I get to have teammates come over, and friends come over, and families come over. We got to host Thanksgiving 2 years in a row. We've got to do Super Bowl parties and Halloween party. We got to have. We got to do Friendsgivings and all those kinds of things due to this home.
And in the 10 years that we lived in an apartment before we bought this house, we never had anybody over. Never. Because it was so small, and it was upstairs, and we had neighbors below us, and there was no parking, and that was our dream. Our main thing was having people over and being able to host things at our house that we've never been able to do, and that's been the best part of it.
Yeah.
So fun.
Yeah.